Hi Bhavna, are you ready for 15 questions with Stree-Leads?
Sure, waiting and excited. So let's start.
So let me start by asking, what does a typical day look like for you as a vice president at a leading pharmaceutical organization?
So the day typically starts with a lot of reading. Especially in the communications team, we have to keep ourselves well informed about what's happening in the healthcare and life sciences space. And no better way than reading about it from different forms of media. Then we jump into issues that are pending, or as communications, we take care of internal communications and external communications and business communications.
That sounds like a lot. In the midst of all of this, how do you keep yourself updated with the current trends and insights in your dynamic work culture?
So there are many ways. Of course, reading is the best way to keep oneself informed. There are also other ways of talking to experts both within the organization and outside of the organization, talking to partners, talking to our KOLs and stakeholders, finding out what's happening from their perspective.
That's awesome. Just before the interview, you were mentioning how you loved being on stage during your college days. Did this passion influence your career choice? And if not, what factors did?
No, I mean, I love the cameras, and even now with the lights on me, I think I really enjoy that bit. Of course, the biggest thing that theatre teaches you is to express yourself without any fear. And I think that's what, irrespective of whether you're in communications or elsewhere, I think that's the first lesson in corporate life. And I think that lesson I learned only from the theatre.
Well, you and comms were really meant to be then. Where do you find inspiration for the communication initiatives that you lead?
The inspiration in our organization is the patient, because we keep the patient at the center of all that we do.
You also mentioned that you've been in the healthcare communications for more than a decade now. But how has your experience of working in diverse industries influenced your leadership style and approach?
So I've had a taste of different industries, and that has in fact helped me grow as a business leader. Couple of things. One, of course, is by virtue of being in that industry, you get to know how that industry works and the leadership required in the different kinds of situations vis-a-vis the industry you're in. So I think that is an experience that one gains completely out of exposure across these industries. Second thing is the kind of leadership around you, which inspires you to bring your authentic self to work.
I would say you're walking the talk. So care to take a walk with me?
Sure, why not?
So Bhavna, let me resume by asking, how do you advocate for and support other women in the industry?
So let me explain something about our industry which maybe many people know or not know. So I represent the life sciences and biopharma stroke healthcare industry, and historically this industry has had very few women leaders at the top. Most of the women you find in our industry belong to support functions, but this trend has been changing. If you look around now, you'll find very many women leaders who have now become CEOs of Indian and multinational pharma companies, and that's really an inspiration and a welcome relief for many of us who can now at least inspire and aspire to reach the corner office.
You truly embody women in power empowered. You know, I was just thinking, it's one thing to support others and a whole other thing to be in high spirits about it as well. So tell me, how do you stay motivated and inspired when you're facing challenges?
Well, it's good to be a positive person. So I think that's the persona I bring in. I love challenges. So that's another thing.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people from our audience will take note of that. My next question to you is, What, in your opinion, is the biggest misconception about being a woman leader?
In terms of misconception about women leaders, I think the biggest misconception is that we are very sensitive and very vulnerable. I think that is a positive that we women bring to the table. It is in fact this particular trait that makes us very, very astute in how we look at situations. While many digs are made at women for all these qualities, I think it is all of these nuanced qualities that make for women being very good business leaders.
I feel the lens completely needs to shift here, and that's exactly where we're at. So tell me, what's the funniest or the most unusual request that you have ever received in your role?
There have been quite a few requests that keep coming to corporate communications, but I think that the biggest misnomer is that people think that people in communications have a printing press at home, so they come about saying that okay, we are doing this activity, usko chapwa dena, front page ho sakta hai to great, otherwise just put it in page 3 or page 5. So it doesn't work like that, my friends. But yeah, that's perhaps the most common but really funny requests that come our way.
Well, I'm sure you wake up every morning anticipating just that. But speaking of unusual days, what's your go-to stress buster after a hectic day?
I love dogs and I love stray dogs. So for me, I think the biggest peace of mind that I get is when I play with all the strays in my street. I think that's unconditional love that they give. So I'm very happy to be with all my strays.
Well, what would we give to be in that position right now and play with them? But I think for now, a cup of coffee will have to do.
Sure, I think I need my cup of coffee.
Now that we've got the caffeine running, let me ask you my next question. What is the role of mentors in ensuring that women climbing up the ladder feel supported? And at the same time, how can you ensure that mentees best absorb the learning from their mentors?
Mentorship is not about who's mentoring, what are they mentoring. It's all about learning. It's all about being a sponge and just absorbing what best you can learn from people around you. The strengths, the skill sets, the traits, things that have worked for them, their experiences. I think it's all about that.
I think that's beautiful. One another thing that I see doing rounds in the industry is that the glass cliff does not exist anymore. Is that true?
The glass cliff is a situation where, a woman leader is hired either during crisis or during unfavorable situations. And then, ultimately, does she fail? What is her test of performance? That's exactly the glass cliff. That, you're on the cliff and you have to make those tough decisions. And I feel that that is a challenge and that is an opportunity for any leader, be it a male or a female, to actually prove their leadership skill.
I think you rightly mentioned that a lot of biases exist for both sexes and for all genders, in fact. But there is an innate quality and an innate responsibility for men to support women. So how do you think allyship in that sense can work when it comes to women in leadership?
So I think that for leaders, be it men or women, sponsorship, networking, allyship, these are all words that are part of our lexicon. There is this misnomer that probably men bond more over drinks and smoking, but I think it's all to do with opportunities. I think equal number of women watch cricket as well, and we could have decent conversations on cricket. We could have decent conversations on sports. We could have decent conversation on films, on politics. So there are many topics, and like they say, lots can happen over coffee. You don't really need to go on late night dinners for networking. So I think all of these are very important aspects of leadership.
That's true. All of us are in this together. But as we come to close this segment, somebody told me that you're a movie buff, so let me rephrase my question. If you were to produce a movie about being a leader, what would it be called?
I think it would be called In Pursuit of Excellence.
Wow, we can't wait to watch it already. Lastly, 3 words to describe the Stree-Leads of the next generation.
If I can make it 4, then I think it'll be Women in Power, Empower.
That's beautiful. And thank you so much, Bhavna, for your time. It was lovely speaking to you.
Thank you so much, Stree-Leads, and more power to all of you. Thank you.